Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. In today's video, we'll be predicting match week 3 of the UEFA Champions League. But before we do that, let's take a look at my match week 2 predictions. Well, I predicted 2-1 to Atalanta versus Club Brugge, and this was the actual perfect prediction. Clap on my back there. Good stuff there from Atalanta. Madrid predicted 3-0 versus Kairat. Madrid won 5-0 in this game. Beating my prediction by a little bit. Atletico Madrid versus Frankfurt, I predicted it 1-0. Atletico Madrid obviously smacked Frankfurt 5-1 in this game. Bodo Glimt versus Spurs, I mean, absolutely perfect once again. The game ended 2-2 and I predicted it 2-2. I mean, is there someone like me? Chelsea Benfica, I predicted it 2-0. The game ended 1-0 to Chelsea. Really great predictions so far. Yeah, very sure I predicted it. Yeah, 2-2 here in Galatasaray, Liverpool. Obviously, Galatasaray went on to win this game 1-0. Inter, Slavia Prague, I predicted at 2-0. The game ended 3-0 to Inter Milan this game. Marseille versus Ajax. Yeah, I mean, Marseille smacked them up 4-0. I predicted at 3-2. So all the predictions looks really good so far. Obviously, it's 4-0 to Bayern. And Bayern won 5-1, so the perfect goal difference as well. Karabakh versus Copenhagen ended 1-1. The game ended 2-0 actually to Karabakh, so that's probably the worst prediction of the video so far. Union Saint-Gilloise versus Newcastle. Newcastle slapped them up 4-0 in this game. It wasn't even close. Arsenal Olympiacos predicted 4-1. Arsenal went down to win this game 2-0. PSG Barca, I predicted it 2-1 to PSG. I need to start being correct with the numbers I put there, but I predicted it 2-1. The scoreline was 2-1. A lot of perfect predictions so far in this prediction we've made here. The game ended 1-1. Not the best prediction here. Dortmund versus Bilbao. Wow. Dortmund won 4-1 and I predicted 3-1. Extremely close once again. City, Monaco, 3-2 City. Close. The game ended 2-2. Napoli Sporting, I predicted 2-0. The game ended 2-1 to Napoli. And last but not least, Juventus versus Villarreal. The game ended 2-2 and I predicted 2-2. I had at least 7-8 perfect predictions. This has to be one of my best predictions videos so far, and hopefully this video does even better. Let's jump into it. First game to take a look at is FC Barcelona versus Olympiacos, played at the supposed to be played at the Camp Nou, but it's going to play it at the Montjuic. Barcelona obviously only having 3 points in the UCL so far, beating Newcastle, but losing to Paris Saint-Germain. But Barca should get back in points in this game. I think Olympiacos drew against Pafos in one of their games and probably lost the other one. So I'm saying an easy 3-0 victory for FC Barcelona. Kairat Almaty versus Pafos. Woo. Kairat Almaty obviously got dunked on by Madrid and Sporting. Pafos drew against Olympiacos but got dunked on Bayern. The game is going to be played in Kazakhstan though. Second time in a row for Kairat playing there. And let's go with the Kairat victory. They should feel confident. They had some good moments versus Madrid in that first half, only holding them to 1-0. So I'm going to go with a Kairat Almaty cheeky 2-1 victory. Next up is Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid. Osama bin Laden versus Hitler. Mussolini versus Stalin. Terrorist versus terrorist. At least Atletico Madrid terrorism I like, because yes, they're very defensive and so on, but they play beautiful attacking football. Very technical team. Unlike Arsenal, who rely on set pieces. The game is going to be played at the Emirates though, and we know Arsenal have a very great record at the Emirates. Atletico Madrid obviously pulled up with some recent great form, beating Real Madrid 5-2, beating Frankfurt 5-1 in the Champions League as well. Whew. It's either going to be a draw or a narrow Arsenal win. But you know what? They already have 6 points. And Atletico, we saw them away at Anfield this season as well. Played well, managed to get the comeback. I'm going to go for a draw. 1-1 between Atletico Madrid and Arsenal. Next up is Bayer Leverkusen versus Paris Saint-Germain away in Bayer Leverkusen. Paris Saint-Germain back. And we've been one of the best, if not the best Champions League team so far, beating Atalanta. 4-0 come to at the back, creating 10 big chances. And then obviously handling Barca with our... Not B team. People say B team. It's a B attack. But rotated squad. We're going to face up against Leverkusen. Some of our players are back. Some of our players will not be back yet. Dembele should be back for that game. I don't know if he's going to start like Dewey started the Strasbourg game, but if the boost starts, but I'm going to go big. Paris Saint-Germain have only won one of their last 4 Ligue 1 games. Obviously, the Barca victory in between there, but I want a big performance. We haven't won on our last 2 Ligue 1 games as well, 2 draws in a row. I'm going to go for a 4-1 victory to Paris Saint-Germain against by 5-1. 5-1 victory versus Leverkusen for Paris Saint-Germain. Next up is Copenhagen versus Borussia Dortmund. Interesting game here, but Dortmund have been firing on all cylinders. Even though the game is going to be played in Denmark, Copenhagen might have the home advantage. I do believe Dortmund will go away with a 3-1 victory. Next up is Newcastle United versus Benfica. Benfica obviously sacked their manager after losing the first game versus Karabag. And I can't remember what happened in their second game. Newcastle actually obviously lost to Barca narrowly, but then smacked up some team, maybe Club Brugge or something, 4-1 or something. And the game is going to be played at St. James Park as well. I think it's going to be a Newcastle United 2-0 victory. Next up is PSV Eindhoven versus Napoli SC. Napoli obviously lost the first game versus City, won their second game, I think 2-0 or something. I don't remember against 2. I don't remember exactly how PSV been doing, but I think they got an underwhelming result in their first game. The game is obviously away. Honestly, I'm going to go for a draw. I think 1-1 between Napoli and PSV Eindhoven. Next up is Union Saint-Gilloise versus Inter Milan away in Belgium. Union Saint-Gilloise obviously got a great performance versus PSV. Now I remember Inter, I do believe they are 6 out of 6 points, beating their last 2 teams. I think Slavia Prague at the San Siro was the recent game for them. It looks like a draw, but Inter have looked solid this season. I'm going to give them a 2-1 victory. Next up is Villarreal versus Manchester City. Villarreal have obviously been a very hot team in La Liga so far this season. Narrowly losing to Spurs in their first Champions League game. And can't remember really what happened in their last game, but they probably lost because I remember I saw a lot of tweets talking about how shit La Liga teams were in the UCL. City, Villarreal. City obviously drew against Monaco last time, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to City away in España. Next up, we got to go to Wednesday games here. Atletico Bilbao versus Karabag played at in Atletico Bilbao. Bilbao obviously lost to Arsenal first game. Can't remember what happened second game. Karabag, I think they have picked up 6 points. They've looked very interesting. I don't think they will win, but I think they're going to get a draw. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 between Karabag and Atletico Bilbao. Next up is Galatasaray versus Bodø Glimt. Galatasaray obviously surprisingly beat Liverpool last game after losing 5-1 to Frankfurt in their first game. Bodø Glimt have looked very interesting. Obviously Spurs made the comeback against them, but it was very tough. Galatasaray at home as well should be picking up the points, but I think Bodø Glimt will be tough. 3-2 to Galatasaray. Next up is Atalanta versus Slavia Prague. Slavia Prague facing its secondary Italian team of the Champions League season so far. Atalanta obviously got slapped up by PSG. Can't remember what happened in their match week 2 game. Gonna go for Atalanta 3-1 victory. Next up is Bayern München versus Club Brugge. Bayern München have looked incredible so far in all competitions, including the UEFA Champions League, and I think they're gonna open up Club Brugge at the Allianz Arena with a 4-1 victory. Next up is Chelsea FC versus Ajax Amsterdam. Very interesting game. Chelsea have looked weird this season. A little bit worse than I expected myself from Chelsea. Chelsea, Ajax. I don't exactly know about Ajax form either, but Chelsea should be picking up points here. No, Chelsea actually won their last game 1-0, I remember, against Benfica. But they lost the first game against Bayern. Chelsea need the points. I'm going to go for a Chelsea 2-1. Chelsea 2-0 victory versus Ajax. Next up is a Frankfurt versus Liverpool. Frankfurt obviously clapped up Galatasaray only to be clapped up by Atletico Madrid in the second game. Liverpool got the narrow win against Atletico in the first game, but lost to Galatasaray away, and even lost like 2 games in the Premier League recently. So Liverpool definitely have to get a victory in this game away in Germany. I think it will maybe suit Liverpool with their counter-attacking football. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Liverpool. Next up is AS Monaco Ligue 1 McDonald's versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Tottenham have looked decent this season. Monaco, a little bit underwhelming. Obviously getting slapped up by Club Brugge in their first Champions League game. But they did draw versus City in their last UEFA Champions League game. What do we go with here? I'm going to give it to... Honestly, Monaco should win. They're at home, but it could be another draw. I'm going to go 2-1 Monaco. Vamos Monaco. Next up is Real Madrid versus Juventus. Played at the Bernabeu as well. This is a very great game to watch. I remember I watched Juventus versus Real Madrid at the Club World Cup. It was a really interesting game to watch. Probably going to be a Madrid win, but very narrow. 3-2 Real Madrid. And lastly but not least, Sporting Lisbon versus Marseille. Marseille obviously smacked up Ajax in their last game in the UEFA Champions League. Sporting, I know they won their first game versus Kairat. Can't remember the last one. It hurts, man. Let's go with a draw. I don't want to predict Marseille to win. Let's go with a 2-2 draw between Marseille and Sporting. And that's finished off with a prediction video. Hopefully, guys have enjoyed this prediction. And as usual, allez, Paris.